All right, so you've built something incredible, something new, but there's that little voice in the back of your head, that nagging fear. What if someone just steals the idea? If that sounds familiar, then you're in the right place. Today, we're jumping into one of the biggest choices an innovator has to make: design patent or utility patent. And trust me, this isn't just about legal paperwork, it's about strategy. You know the feeling. You've poured all those late nights and weekends into sketching, building, and perfecting your product. It's finally working, it's brilliant, and then it hits you. What's stopping someone from just copying it? That fear is totally real, and it's the exact reason why this next decision is so important. And this right here, this is that moment. This isn't about getting bogged down in legal jargon, no. This is about making a smart move to build a shield, a real fortress around all your hard work. The choice you make here could literally define your competitive edge for years to come. Okay, so let's talk about that first shield. It's the one a lot of people overlook, but it's often the most visible and vulnerable part of your creation, the way it looks. A design patent is, well, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It has zero to do with the technology inside or the brilliant process you came up with. It's all about protecting the ornamental design. You know, the unique shape, that specific visual flair, the style that makes people say, "Oh, I know what that is." Think about the distinct curved shape of a Coke bottle. That's a classic example of a powerful design. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. People buy with their eyes first, and copycats know this. It's so true. We can get obsessed with our tech, but out in the real world, the look is what grabs a customer's attention. And you can bet, if it grabs customers, it's the very first thing a competitor is going to try and rip off. So really, think of your product's design as a strategic moat. It's your first line of defense. A design patent takes that look and transforms it into legally protected intellectual property. It becomes a signature for your brand. And what's really great is that design patents are usually faster and cheaper to get, which means you can shut down those visual knockoffs really, really quickly. So this brings up the big question for you, right? How do you know if your design has enough value to even bother protecting? It's not always super obvious. Well, the good news is there are some pretty clear signals. Ask yourself, is your product instantly recognizable, even from a distance? Do you have customers telling you how much they love its sleek feel? Are you already pouring money into branding and that visual identity? Those are huge signs. And here's a key point. You don't need the final polished product. If even your early prototypes have unique visual features, it's time to start thinking about it. All right, we've talked about the look. Now let's flip the coin and talk about the other side. What about the core of your innovation, the part that actually makes the whole thing work? This is where we get into the deeper shield, protecting the function. A utility patent is all about protecting the engine under the hood. It covers the how and the what, the unique systems, the clever methods, the core technology that makes your product do what it does. It's about function, not form. So, going back to that water bottle example, if it had a brand new type of internal filter, the utility patent would protect how that filter works, not the cool shape of the bottle itself. You know, I absolutely love this metaphor because it just makes the difference crystal clear. A design patent guards the outer shell, the beautiful, recognizable part. But the utility patent, that guards the inner brain, the complex, clever, and incredibly valuable part. For a lot of founders, especially in tech, the brain is where the real breakthrough is. And protecting the how is your real long-term advantage. See, you can't patent a vague idea, but you can patent a working method. A good utility patent stops competitors from getting to the same result, even if they try to change a few things around. It basically creates this protective bubble around your tech. And let me tell you, for investors, that signals deep, defensible value they can't ignore. Okay, so how do you know if your inner brain actually qualifies for one of these? How can you be sure that your new method is genuinely patentable? Let's run through a quick checklist. If you're solving an old problem in a new way with a new process or structure, you might have something. If it involves unique hardware setup or clever mechanical system, you might have something. And here's the kicker. Can you explain its non-obvious steps from beginning to end? Your process doesn't have to be perfect yet, but it does have to be real, repeatable, and new. So let's just put it all side by side one more time to let it sink in. A design patent protects the look. It's your brand's signature. It stops the visual knockoffs. A utility patent protects the how. It's your real advantage. It stops the functional clones. One is faster to get, the other gives you deeper, broader protection. It really is the outer shell versus the inner brain. Okay, so now we get it, right? We have two different shields, but the big question is, how do you actually choose the right one for your product right now without hitting the brakes on everything you're trying to build? Let's make this super simple with a 3-step framework. Step 1, what's your product's biggest edge? Is it all about how it looks or how it works? Step 2, what would a competitor copy first? Are they going to steal the style or try to reverse engineer the system? And step 3, what part of your product is the most stable and ready to go right now? Your answer is usually sitting right in the middle of those 3 questions. So the strategy becomes pretty clear. If your primary advantage is that iconic head-turning look, your first move is probably a design patent. If it's the breakthrough tech inside, you should lead with your utility patent. And what if you're lucky enough to have both? A unique look and a new function? Well, you can absolutely pursue both. You just start with whichever one is more baked and ready to go. And I know what you might be thinking. But wait, my product is still changing. It's still evolving. That is a super common concern. But the most important thing to remember is that an early filing acts as an anchor. It locks in your starting point, your priority date. You can always file for more protection on improvements later, but what you can never do is go back in time and claim an earlier date. And that, right there, brings us to the final and honestly, the most critical takeaway from all of this. When it comes to protecting your work, timing isn't just a small factor. Timing is everything. The very second your product is out there in the world, whether it's a launch, a demo, or even a public discussion, a countdown begins. A clock starts ticking, and you are officially in a race. Just look at this timeline to see why that race is so urgent. Day 1, you launch. The clock is on. Within the first week, you can bet competitors are already studying your work, trying to figure it out. By month 1, a rival could file their own patent. And if they file first, even by a single day, your options can shrink dramatically. Filing early isn't about being done. It's about locking in your priority so you have the freedom to keep building with confidence. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Take a hard look at what you've built. Right now, at this very moment, is it a protected asset that gives you a real competitive advantage? Or is it just an unprotected roadmap laid out for any fast-moving competitor to follow? The choice of which one it becomes, that's entirely up to you.